Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. And my topic is how to utilize self talk, and timing is everything. So, the other day I had done one on self talk and really getting to know me. And so, today I wanted to just share a little story with you that kind of coincides with what my first video was. Um, I'm Kelly, and so I want to go back to the week prior, and I actually had my grandkids for a week. So I was driving through a couple of snowstorms to get them to and from Calgary. And so it all started on Saturday when I had to drive them as far as Sparwood and meet up with the mom. And the snow, it started snowing quite a bit, so the roads were slippery. So if anybody's ever driven on a really slippery road or icy road, um, you can identify with kind of how when you're driving, you really utilize your skills, your self-talk, and your peripheral, and you're really self-aware, what it comes down to, and you're just very cautious. So we managed to all meet up and we had lunch, and of course the snow, it was storming like absolute crazy, and I had to drive 5 hours back home. And of course, the only thing you really want to do is just, hey, I want to get home. And so I got started out onto the roads, and I can tell by the way it was snowing and the way it was kind of slushy, and it was very, very, very slippery. So the self talk, utilizing the self talk, here's where it came into play. I'm driving along, not going super fast, but you can tell by just from the steering and the way that your car is kind of sliding on the road that it's extremely icy. And my bodily functions initially, my heart started pounding, my foot started shaking. I started shaking. And how I had to calm myself down, because when you're shaky like that, it's just going to aim for disaster. And I don't want disaster. I don't want an accident. I don't want a quick reaction. I need to be aware and I need to be calm. So by continuously telling myself, I'm skilled, I'm experienced, I've been on these roads before, I can drive it, just stay focused, my heart rate slowed down, my legs and my hands stopped shaking, and I stayed very focused. And knowing that no one else along there was actually speeding, so no one was passing me. Well, nobody wanted to pass because it's quite slippery. So I'm just going to have a sip of my tea. And so nobody was passing anybody. And then we came into this one section, which is considered the Bluff. So in British Columbia, mountains, they're like rock, and they're right beside the highway. And of course, I mean, trees up top, but the rocks all along this one section, which can be pretty scary because it's very weavy and windy, and you don't want to go too fast around a corner because you could get caught in the slush and end up across the highway, which is exactly what had happened. Not to me, but to a couple other gals. So what happened was, um, driving along, and someone flashed their lights, and usually that means wildlife or an accident. An accident. In this case, it was both. But I knew to stay very, very alert and very focused on my driving and everything around me, because sometimes it's not my driving that I'm totally worried about. It's someone else's decision, and I don't know what their reaction is, or their reaction time, or how skilled they are, or how experienced, and you know a lot of things come into play. But the self-talk of that throughout the whole drive was really important. So anyways, I come up along this one section, and sure enough, there was a truck with two young gals, and they had smashed into the rocks. So, and of course, about 100 feet before that was a whole bunch of the ram sheep, I guess, on the side of the road. So they still like to eat, whether it's in a snowstorm or it's not a snowstorm. They're hungry. They're hungry. They're going to be down by the highway. So it is what it is. And so for the rest of the trip, um, it got slushier and slushier as it warmed up, getting closer to Cranbrook. And then by the time I got into Cranbrook, there was no more slush and the roads were just wet. So that was a great time to stop and reflect and really, thank myself for making it through that and to this part. And then the roads were just wet, so it was the rest of the trip home, and then pulled into Creston, and I thought, wow, I'm on my last little bout of my journey, and I have the highest pass in British Columbia to go over. So I stopped, got a tea, ready to hit the pass, and as I pulled up, the sign above the highway said it was closed due to avalanche control, so that they have controlled avalanches so the snow doesn't come down on the highway. And the cleanup said it was going to be closed 7 to 9. There is an alternative route, which is the ferry, but I knew I would end up way down, way far away from where I was. Hey, you know what? I can handle a couple hours. I have audiobooks, so I could listen to some Grant Cardone and wait a couple hours. So I made the trip, sorry, made the trip up the mountain and waiting in the line. About an hour after sitting there, the guy that had everybody blocked off and stopped with the radio comes over and tells everybody that it's not going to be cleaned up till 1 o'clock in the morning. But if I just take it back for a sec, when I saw the sign that they were closed from 7 to 9, I got there, it was 7:16. So I'd missed it by 16 minutes. Well, probably more than that. But um, so for that little amount of time, um, it doesn't seem like much when it comes down to timing. And so I'd asked the gentleman when we were at the top, and he said no, it wasn't going to be fixed or cleaned up till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, okay, so what time is the last ferry? He didn't know. How long of a drive is it to the ferry? He didn't know. So I had to go back into town, which was another 30 kilometers, I don't know, about 15 miles back into town. And by then it was already, pretty well getting dark. And by the time I got to the bottom of the hill, of course, it was crazy foggy. I had to go all over to this one particular gas station to put some more diesel in when I had asked him how long it would be to get to the ferry. He looked at the clock and said, there's no way you're going to make it because it's about an hour and 15. It's dark, it's foggy, and I don't know the road super well. So it's back up the mountain I go. I'm going to have to wait. So that allowed me some time to really reflect. Um, of course, resting and listening to some audiobooks, but a chance to reflect. So when I look at the accident that had happened, because the girls came around the corner, the slush caught them, and they crossed the highway and landed into the rocks. I missed going up the mountain by about 20 minutes to get on the other side of the avalanche. When I say timing is everything, if I look at the timing of where I was up to where the animals were in the accident, if the roads, it's all traffic, it's all timing. Even though it was like 7:15, I wasn't meant to take that ferry. I was meant to sit there and think about how lucky I was to not be in that line of when that truck came across the highway, because I was in front of about, I want to say 10 cars, 10 vehicles, and everybody was driving really slow. It was all timing. And even though I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning, this self-talk I had the entire way of my skills, my experience to drive, um, absolutely everything. So when you're driving on a slippery road, or if you're driving on a road that you're not 100% aware of, or something like that, and you feel like your heart's starting to race and you're getting a little scared or a little nervous, I mean, that's normal body function. But how do you get out of that initial fear? It's telling yourself the positive self talk. Know your abilities, know your skill, your experience. Don't underestimate how good you really are with what you know, because we're all human, absolutely. But when you can control all of that by self-talk, that's utilizing what you already know is there, right? So we already know what we say to ourselves is how everything is. What you put out into the world. So what you say, if you're always telling yourself you don't believe in yourself, you don't, I can't do this. This is never going to work. I'm not that type of person. Really take a couple of minutes and reflect what you tell yourself, because that's going to affect success for you, whether it's success in a business, whether it's success for yourself in the long term, right? So these are all things that come into play about building up who you are as a character. And my personality and my character, I was not always at that spot where I could self-talk myself into relaxation. It comes with utilizing things that are presented to us or shared with us, and we actually take it and use it, apply it. You can hear all the information and read all the books you want. It's not going to get you anywhere if you don't implement it into your everyday lifestyle or everyday being, because things creep up in our minds so quick that sometimes you don't even realize it's there. It could be at the front of your head, could be at the back of your head. It doesn't matter what part of your head it's in. It needs to stop renting space in there, right? It's like giving it an eviction notice all the time. It's got to get out. You have to replace it with the other thoughts, right? And building and boosting your own confidence. You can do that. Yes, so many other things come into play, but it starts within. And so that self-talk, utilizing that self-talk was what really helped me to relax my body, slow my heart rate down, and really focus and concentrate. And you know, I thank myself that whole way for being experienced and for having the skills and for really having the ability to pull my body out of that, because it was no fun driving on black ice the week before with three small children in the car and not being able to see the road. So it was self-talk, and I needed, and I was by myself. So, that's what I wanted to share, because I shared some of my story on a video the other day, and to be honest, really liking YouTube. And I really thank everybody for being a part of my journey, because I'm new to this, and I get to see also my videos um, and myself grow. So I'm pretty excited for that. I like my afternoon tea. I'm a tea drinker. You might be a coffee drinker, but I'm a tea drinker. I used to be a coffee drinker, but I'm a tea drinker now. And it'll be a year I've actually not had coffee. So, um, anyway, so guys, I am going to be doing a webinar in the next couple of days, Thursday actually, and that is where I am going to show you the system that I use, and it's so simple and so easy, and it's life-changing results, life-changing money. And if that's something that appeals to you, click on the link below, watch the video, um, join me, message me, find me on Facebook. I am Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now YouTube. So I'm pretty excited for this journey, and the more I'm going to get to share about what's going on with me and how I am applying what I've learned to get to where I am. So you get to be a part of this journey with me. So thank you all, and until the next video, have a great day.